Procreate 5.2 is here and I will guide you through all the new features. Not too much chit chat, but a clear breakdown. Now once you have updated to Procreate 5.2 through the App Store, I can imagine that you will want to play around with the new 3D feature. Now you might have seen the Procreate standard models like a skateboard and a little can. You can actually download those. To do that, you'll need to go to the wrench, then to help, and here you'll see what's new. And the first screen you get is the whole 3D, a whole new dimension screen, and here you can download the model pack. It might take some time though, because these files, they are pretty big. So once the models have been downloaded, you can go back to the gallery and you will see these 3D models, and you can pick any one of them and go ahead and play around painting on them. You can move the object around with one finger. You can zoom in and out with 2 fingers, or with 2 fingers you can move around like this. But of course, you can also import a model of your own. You can use an app like Forger, for example, to make your own 3D models and import them into Procreate. I have opened Google Drive, for example, and there I have a 3D head from Forger. It's an object file, that's .obj. And now I can go to Open In and open it in Procreate. I'll have to go back to the gallery and there I'll see my head. And now just like with the standard models, I can zoom in, zoom out and paint on it. Now to paint on any of these 3D objects, all you have to do is grab one of your brushes, go to the layer menu and select the part which you want to paint. For example, if we want to paint the board, we can just grab the base layer of the board, and with our brush we can paint on the board. You can rotate it, you can zoom in, and right now we're just creating a red board. We're not doing anything too difficult, it's just a demonstration. So we have a red board now, well, almost red. Here we have a little part. But you can't just paint with color, you can also go to the layer menu and click this little box icon. There you'll see that there's a color, a roughness and a metallic layer. And they work a bit like a layer mask. So when it's white, it's very rough, and when it's black, it's not. And right here, when it's white, it's very metallic, and when it's black, it's not. So let's go to this metallic layer. Let's grab pure white by double tapping here. And now when we zoom in and paint on it, it looks a bit weird, but it's becoming more metallic. You can see that it's shining now. So with these layers, you have control over like the metallicness and the roughness. If we make it less rough by using black, we can paint over it. And this is actually the roughness. We're making it less rough, which means it's becoming more shiny. And when you switch back to white, you can actually take it back and make it less shiny again. Now it's more rough and it's less reflective. Now besides painting on your 3D object with color, you can also add a photo or an artwork to your 3D object. Before you do that, you need to make sure that you are back on the base layer. Then you can go to the wrench, then to add, then to insert a photo, and then you can add anything. Let's add this doodle. Now when we go to advanced, we can use this advanced feature, make it bigger by pulling these handles. We can rotate it. Let's make it nice and big on our board. And then you can just click the arrow again. And now we have a nice illustration on our skateboard. Now, a fun thing to play around with the 3D objects is the lighting studio. If you go to the wrench, then to 3D, you can go to Edit, Lighting and Environment. Now, over here, you can see the lighting situation right now. And these little boxes, those are the lights. You can move them around, you can click them, you can change the hue and the saturation and the intensity of the light and place it wherever you want it. And you can also add lights by clicking add light. It's so logical. You can change the color, create a blue light for example. Place it near the object or far away. You can have endless fun with this lighting setup, and you can also change the environment actually. By clicking environment, you can pick all these environments like Savage and Auditorium and Nightlife, lots of different setups. And right now, you can't really see the environment, but once you create a very shiny object, the surroundings will reflect on that object. So that's when you'll see that environment like a mountain or a beach or a sunrise. If you rather see your 3D object in your own environment, then you can actually use the AR function, which means augmented reality. And you can find it in the actions menu. Under 3D, you'll find view in AR. And if you click that, you can see your skateboard as if it's really in your home or in your environment. It's just a fun thing to play around with. If you rather export it and show it on your social media channels, for example, then you can go to the wrench, then to share. And then you can actually share it as an animated GIF, for example. Or GIF, GIF, tomato, tomato. If you click it, then you get this little animation of your skateboard. And you can actually play around with the zoom distance, with the animation duration, with if you wanted to rotate or let it swing. You can change the ease. So this is a great way to show off your work on social media, share it with your mom and friends. But now let's move on to some exciting brush features. A great new feature in Procreate 5.2 is the brush memory. It really helps if your own memory isn't that good. If you need to remember what the opacity was that you were using or the brush size, you can use the slider, then click the slider again and then click the plus. It'll create this little thingy here, and now you can easily select it. Now that's very handy when you are creating line work, for example, and you're using 2 different sizes for your brush. You can make multiple points in the slider. And you can easily switch between different sizes, different opacities. No need to use your own brain anymore. Another thing that's very handy to support your own memory, your own brain, is the recent brushes feature. If you go to the top in your brush library, you'll find your recent brushes. I think this is something we have all longed for. Now, if you find some favorite brushes in this list, then you can actually swipe on your brush and pin it to the top. It'll get this little star, and that way it won't disappear from the recent brushes list. And you will always be able to find your favorite brushes. And if you want to find a brush pack the brush is a part of, then you can also slide to the left and use find. And it'll automatically bring you to the brush pack the brush is in. Another brush feature I'm super excited about is the stabilization function. If you go to the brush studio of any type of brush, you'll find this new tab, stabilization, and it replaces the regular streamline function that brushes used to have. Now we have a whole streamline menu. Now let me demonstrate it. If we turn off the streamline here, well, let's say to 20% and make a pretty wobbly line, then you can go to stabilization and stabilize that line. Or use the motion filtering to make up for any wobbles that you might have made involuntarily. So if you have a little bit of shaky hands, then this is a great solution. You'll also find another new feature in the Brush Studio. If you click Drawing Pad, you will be able to set it to 3D preview. And that'll show you what your paint will look like on a 3D object. You'll also find a new tab over here, it's Materials. And this is where you can adjust how your paint, how your brush will behave on a 3D object. Here you can decide how metallic it will look and how rough it will look. Right now the paint is not metallic, but if we use the slider, you can see that it starts to look more like metallic. And if we decrease the roughness, you can see that it's becoming more shiny, more reflective. And you can actually see the environment that you can pick in the Light Studio. Or we can make it more matte. And you can also play around with the metallic or the roughness source by just clicking Edit, then going to Import, and you can go to the source library, for example, and just pick any of the textures that Procreate already has. Then click Done. And that way you can give extra effects to your brushes. Now the whole stabilization thing that Procreate has added to the Brush Studio is really great, of course, because they want everyone to be able to use Procreate. Now, if you have a bit of shaky hands and you want that feature to be enabled all the time, then you can go to the wrench, then to Prefs, and then to Pressure and Smoothing. Here you can see your regular pressure curve, but there are also some new options like stabilization and motion filtering expression, and that way that stabilization feature will be enabled all the time. So you won't need to adjust each and every brush you want to use. Procreate has added some more features that make it more accessible. If you go to the wrench, then to Help, and then to Advanced Settings, and then when you scroll down, you'll find the Single Touch Gestures companion. If you turn it on and go back to Procreate, you'll find this new menu here at the top. Now this is super handy if you can only work with one hand or with one finger or just with the pen. There can be any reason why you can't use the gestures. Now you have this little menu and you can just click Move, for example, move the canvas around, click Zoom to zoom in with just one finger or pen, and you can undo, redo, or fit the canvas. Just make sure that when you go back to painting, you click the zoom option again so everything is turned off. This just makes working with one hand a lot easier. Now, if we go back to those advanced settings, let me turn the Single Touch Gestures companion off. You'll also find color description notifications and feedback sounds and tap assistance, initial touch location support, which I don't really understand yet. So let me know if you understand what it does. But for now, let's use color description notification and feedback sounds and go back to Procreate. Now the feedback sounds will give you a sound if you do stuff like, for instance, if you set a brush size, it'll give a little sound, which I don't think you can hear in the video. And if you go to the layers, if you decrease or increase the opacity, it'll give this super annoying sound. So if you want to annoy the people around you while you're working, I would definitely turn this on. Now for the color description notification, if you go to the color drop tool, if you move around on your canvas, you will see the colors here at the top. Now this can be handy if you are colorblind, for example. It'll tell you what color you are selecting. Procreate has also made it easier if you are having trouble reading or seeing the icons, for example. Let's go back to the settings. Let's turn off the feedback sounds and the color description notification. If you go to accessibility and the settings and go to display and text size and then go to larger text, you can turn this on, larger accessibility sizes, and you can make everything bigger. And when you go to Procreate, you'll see that the menus have gotten bigger as well. So if all the letters, if all the icons are a bit too small for you, then this is the way to make everything bigger in Procreate. Now coming back to colors, there has been a change in the colors, in the color palettes actually. If you go to the color palettes in the color menu right now, you can switch between compact and cards. And you'll see that Procreate has given names to all the colors automatically. But of course, you can also just click one of the colors and change the name. There has also been a change in the animation assistant. Previously, in the previous version of Procreate, When you use onion skin layers, you would just see a transparent version of the previous and next frame. Right now you can go to settings here and change the onion skin colors. And if you click the left one, for example, you can change the color of the previous frame. For example, you can make it red. And for the next frame, you can pick green, for example, making it easier to see the different onion skins. Another feature I have definitely been waiting for is the ability to switch between layer and pencil when you are using adjustments. Previously, you needed to pick between pencil or layer when going for Gaussian blur, for example. But now if you go for Gaussian blur, initially you will be blurring the entire layer. But if you click this little triangle, you can switch between layer and pencil. So with layer, when you move to the right, you will blur the entire layer, and that's the grass and the flowers in this case. And then if you want to blur some parts a little bit more, then you can go to pencil, pick any pencil you like, and blur certain areas even more, giving you way more flexibility. Finally, another exciting feature that is in Procreate 5.2 is the ability to create PDF files. Now let's say you have multiple layers. If you go to the wrench, then to canvas, then you can turn on Page Assist. And this will turn your layers into different pages. It works just like the animation assist. Once you are done creating your little ebook, then you can go to wrench, export it by going to share, and then you can export it as a PDF. But of course you can also import PDFs into Procreate. You can go to Google Drive, for example, find the PDF you want to open, click the three little dots, use Open In, and then select Procreate. When you import a PDF, Page Assist will automatically be turned on. Now here you see my ebook about color theory, for example, which you can download for free through Freeform Flow. Now here at the bottom, you'll see all the different pages. You can navigate through them like this, but Procreate has also added the feature to the quick menu. Now I have set my quick menu to open by tapping here on the square and then clicking on the screen. And now you can hold one of the buttons, and then you can go and scroll to next page or previous page and put them in your quick menu like this. If you want to be able to open your quick menu like this as well, then all you need to do is go to the wrench, then go to Prefs, to gesture controls, and then go to quick menu here. And there you can set it to the little square and Apple Pencil. Now beside all these exciting new features, Procreate has also added 3 new languages, and those are Thai, Polish, and Hindi. And perhaps also some features that I wasn't able to discover. So if I have missed anything, then please do let me know in the comment section. Now, which one of these features is your favorite? I think mine is the new brush stabilization function. Although painting on 3D might be a lot of fun as well. Let me know in the comments what you think about the new update. And now go ahead and have fun yourself with Procreate 5.2. I want to thank you for watching, and I guess I will see you soon, right, for the next You Can Draw This video tutorial.